Goodness gracious. Look at me first thing in the morning. What are you doing? You're being a little girl? You're just being a little girl.
Hello, it's been 3 years. I'm Lady Yaya. Welcome. It's great to be back. And I am coming back with a vengeance, and I'm going to be telling you why, because I'm coming out of a great deal of sadness and anxiety and depression, and I will explain to you why I have stopped vlogging when I really shouldn't have, but I did. And I lost my parents. I lost my father 6 years ago this last August, and then 4 years later to the week, I lost my mother. And the whole ordeal was horrendous. I had been busy putting, I was doing videos pretty regularly, and then my father passed away. That kind of messed me up. And it took me a couple of years, maybe 3 years, to recover from that. And then once I started recovering from that, my mom got cancer. And I had done 3 videos. I was starting back up, and my mother got cancer, and she went downhill rapidly, and my sister and I had to take care of her. And then this all happened at the very beginning stages of COVID, when the lockdowns started. So we were taking my mom back and forth to doctor's visits, and in the middle of masking, and we ended up having to take turns staying with her, and then pulling in hospice, and then eventually losing her. And that at that point, we had to make some decisions, because I inherited this house, and that meant that this house really needed some work done. So for me not to feel like I was living in my parents' house, we decided to totally remodel the house. And it's still my mom and dad's house, and it still has all those memories, but at least it's mine, ours. My husband let me fix it up the way I wanted to. It's the first time in my life that I got to decorate my own house exactly the way I wanted to, the way I've always wanted to decorate my home. And he let me. And he did not stand in my way. In fact, he's a contractor, so he did all the work for me. And I helped him a little bit. He does most, I'm not a construction worker, but, I picked the paint, I picked the molding, I picked the floors. He drywalled this whole house, because originally it was all paneled. We got all new kitchen. We gutted the bathrooms, redid the bathrooms, everything, painted inside. My mom had already painted the outside, so it's still the original color. And in order to get that remodel done, my sister and I had to go through everything that they owned. She had never gone through my father's clothes, so we had to go through and keep things that we wanted to keep for us and the kids, our children. And then everything of my mom's, everything they owned. They lived here for 23 years. And it was a fast go through, because we only had a certain amount of time, and we needed to remodel this house. And so we did. We remodeled the house. And then after that, we had to remodel, not totally remodel, but we had to get the other house that we lived in for 26 years in Encinitas. We lived in a big mobile home, a block from the ocean. We had to paint it and get it ready for sale, because we couldn't keep both houses. And besides, the space rent over there was horrendous. It was going up every month, it seemed like. And fortunately for us, it sold at a very hot time when everybody was scrambling to buy property here in California or everywhere. It was like a real estate buyout time. So we lucked out. That house sold. We got top dollar for it. I mean, unheard of. And took us out of struggling with a retirement questionable retirement, where the rent would have been too high for us. We were probably going to have to sell it and move out of the state in order to stay here. But moving over here into this house, it's rent controlled. It's a mobile home too. It's rent controlled, so and it's beautiful. The property is gorgeous. We're up on top of a hill. The house is brighter and lighter. It has a little park with a pond. It's beautiful here, and it's convenient. All the stores are close by. I just love it. And I don't have to fight traffic to go to the market. At the beach, it was every summer. You couldn't eat. I mean, it was crazy. So as close as we were to the beach, it was like constantly crowded and lots of traffic. So we got out of that. And we are now here. And I love it, like I said before. But once all the dust settled, we got into this house. The other house sold. We were settling down. We're in the middle of COVID. And then we, on top of losing my mom, we were losing people, friends, and other family members. And it was pretty horrendous. And now that we're out of COVID, I mean, we've gone in and out of COVID, lockdown. My husband and I got COVID a year ago, October. That was a 6-week-long ordeal. That was the Delta variant one. That was the worst one, I think. We were very ill. I didn't think we would recover. I didn't know if I was going to make it. When I got it, I seriously didn't know. I'm an asthmatic. I've had problems with my lungs all my life, and I didn't know if I was going to survive it. But I did. And we're grateful and happy to be alive. But we went through a lot since I last vlogged. And I want to talk about why I started again. One of the biggest reasons was through the whole time I was laying in my bed being depressed and trying to function, I was watching videos, a lot of videos. And there's some that I've always watched for years. Little Poet's one of them. Vegetable Police, of course, because I did a video on Vegetable Police. I like to watch the beauty vloggers. But recently, like about 2 months ago, I started watching women make junk journals. And I was fascinated by them. And so I started making them. And the reason why I started to make one was because I wanted to do what I'm calling a memory journal for my parents. Because I needed to work through this grief. Because all that other stuff that happened, I wasn't able to grieve properly. And when I finally was able to grieve, I just collapsed. And it's been really hard to function. And I've come out of it somewhat, but what's really taking me out of it is doing art again. And so the stepping stone took me this way. I started with the junk journaling. I started with this woman called Lisa Heinzel. I think that's how you say her name. She's a junk journal. She does like grunge ones. And then there was Joy DeFee, and she's very much more calm with hers. And if you watch them, you'll see that they have different styles. And then 49 Dragonflies. And then after that, I just went into other ones. And but these women were like stepping stones to where I found the unexpected gypsy. Now, I know, this is video land, this is YouTube land, but the unexpected gypsy was someone that helped me come out of this funk and decide to do vlogging again. And the process was this. I started watching her because she does journaling. And she does more than just junk journaling. She's an artist. She does, well, the junk journalists are artists too in their own right. They're all artists. But this woman helped me because I got fascinated by listening to her. Her videos are kind of like, they have a dreamy quality to them. Little poets do too. But this woman does her art, and she talks about art, and she talks about her process and this and that. And she talks about journaling and writing journaling. And that got my interest because I really love to write journal, but I stopped journaling because I didn't want anybody to read my journals. I just had this fear that I was going to hurt somebody's feelings, and it's all private. You want to write, when you want to journal, you want to just let it all out. You just want to talk about the things that bother you. You want to talk about, if you're struggling with a situation with your mate or with your kids or with your best friend or whatever, and you want to write it all out. I didn't want to do that because I didn't want something to happen to me and my family read my stuff, So what intrigued me with the unexpected gypsy was she said, I journal, but for those of you who don't journal because you're afraid of people reading your journals or reading your stuff, you can paint over them and you can paste things over them, and the journal will still be intact, but then you could start doing stuff about your journaling you can make art over it. And then the gist of what you journaled is still there, but nobody can read it. And that's all I needed. So she was also talking about reading the book, The Artist's Way. I had that book, and I never read it. In fact, I had 2 of those books. I don't know how I ended up with 2 of them. I think somebody gifted me one after I had bought one. So I gave those 2 books away because I started reading and it didn't make any sense to me at the time. I was too much in my own weirdness. I picked up that book. I ordered that book. I thought, I'm going to try it again. So I ordered the book and I started reading it, The Artist's Way. And I also ordered the notebook. And I started reading again. And she talks about 3-page morning journal. So what you do is you write out 3 pages in the morning. First thing, you get up, you write your 3 pages out. And it's not the kind of journal where like you're doing art journaling. You're not writing poetry. You're basically just dumping. You're writing stuff like, I got to do this. I forgot to do that. I don't feel good. So-and-so said this to me. Blah, blah, blah. Things that are bugging you. You just get it out of you and put it on the paper. And what I noticed was 3 days into this, I'm making a video. She said you would have breakthroughs. I didn't expect to have a breakthrough this quick. But I would like to say is I came to the realization that the whole time I was going through the grieving process and all the craziness, I really wanted to continue with my video, my vlogging. I didn't like the fact, and I kept telling myself, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to start up. For 2 years, I'm like, I'm going to start up. And I never did. I just never did. And I felt stuck. And I felt unmotivated, and I write things out. And in fact, I did a couple of videos, but I didn't like them. And I thought, after writing out 3 days into the 3-page morning journaling, which she says is a must, and I started writing out and clearing out the clutter. And now I'm videoing again. Now I'm going to stick with it because I am really into this, and I have a lot of other things that I want to do. And I have a lot of things that I want to talk about, and a lot of things that I want to show you, and a lot of, I feel like I'll never run out of ideas. So hopefully I won't, because I know some influencers do. They even ask you to give them contents so that you might be interested in. And for me, I'm doing this because it's part of my process. This is part of healing. I'm doing this because I just need to. I need to create art. I need to self-express. I hope that this channel will help other women figure things out too. Or just if they're hearing something that I say that helps them, I hope, or even men, it doesn't matter. I hope that you find something that inspires you. I hope that I just wanted to create some kind of conversation or dialogue that will help people move on through life and get unstuck. Because let's face it, even when I was doing my vlog before, I was kind of stuck because I was struggling with weight loss, and all my vlogging was about weight loss. Well, there's a million people talking about diets and this and that. Well, I have some things I want to talk about with that, but not like before. Because as far as I'm concerned, I do not ever want to do restrictive eating ever again. Because if you look back on some of my videos, you'll see what I was doing. And I almost thought of taking them all down, but it's the process. That was the beginning of this. So now I'm moving into something else, and I have other things to do. And I'd love for you to come along. And I'd love to be inspired and to inspire. And I want to continue my healing process. I'm just starting into the artist way. I'm going to be talking a lot about that as I process through this. And I'm going to be talking about how I lost almost all the weight that I gained through COVID lockdowns. I gained 17 pounds. And that drove me crazy. And I had lost the weight the year before, and I was keeping it off. And then after my mom passed away, I gained it back through the COVID thing. It was terrible. And in fact, I think I did a video of that. It was the end of the world COVID lockdown thing. You guys can check it out if you want. It was funny to me. I cracked myself up, so, whatever. A lot of those videos are for myself. I mean, it's just part of my expressing and my art. Anyways, long story short, I just want to move on from restrictive eating, and I found a way to lose weight. It was kind of the way I lost the weight before. We'll talk about that in another video. I really don't want to fill my video up. This one up is just about where I'm at now and where we're going. And so I hope it unfolds and it turns into an exciting adventure for myself and for everybody who wants to come along. It'll be exciting to see how this channel evolves, and maybe hopefully it will grow. I would love the support, and I hope I inspire you all. So thank you for checking in. I really appreciate you and anyone who comes and watches my videos. I really appreciate it. I'm very grateful, and I'm just grateful for the fact that I have a place to do this. I'm grateful for the fact that I have a beautiful home that I really enjoy, and that it was a gift from my parents. And I'm really grateful for them that they gave this to me and the opportunity to be able to have time at this stage of my life to do something like this. So thank you for coming. I'll see you in the next video. I don't want to cry in front of everybody. Bye.